I've got Stevie Nicol here with me. We're talking Manchester United because this year the Red Devils are gunning for a different kind of, I'll call it the quadruple Stevie Nicol, because still very much in the FA Cup, League Cup finals, Europa League, and of course trying to get that top 4 spot in the Premier League. But many are saying that their squad is being stretched thin, too thin almost. Do you agree?
I don't actually. You know, listen, of all the sides in the Premier League, Manchester United are the one team, other than a couple of positions, have 2 teams that that you wouldn't see the difference in the makeup of the team. You know, other than Pogba and particularly Ibrahimovic, everybody else fits in nicely and they can interchange without really any difference in the Manchester United performance.
All right, well, let's have a look at their upcoming fixtures, because they do seem to be quite the busy team, especially starting this week with the likes of Europa League, and then they've got the League Cup final. Then they still very much have to throw the kitchen sink at the Premier League to get a top 4 finish. How do they prioritize? Because is Europa League their best shot at getting into the Champions League, or is a top 4 finish in the Premier League?
I think the way they're playing now and the run that they've been on, I would suggest that top 4 is looking the most probable. I think Mourinho, right up until now, has done a great job of switching his teams around, making good changes, keeping things fresh. But really, for me, the one thing and the one guy he has to make sure he looks after properly is Ibrahimovic. You know, this is the guy who will be the difference between Man United winning trophies or not, and certainly getting in the top 4. So I think he's done a good job up to now, Mourinho, but he has to look after Ibrahimovic.
All right, so he is indeed the key man. Well, as you heard, they're still very much alive in quite the number of competitions. We'll continue tracking them to see exactly which ones they do hold as a priority.
Indiana Jones.
That was a big star.
Craig Burley. That's the latest person or fictional character that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is comparing himself to. Says he has success everywhere. After watching the 3 goals against Saint Etienne, hard to argue.
Oh, where's Indiana Jones these days? He's
in
the outback.
Isn't there like a 7th Indiana Jones?
I'm not sure. But he's doing great, isn't he? I mean, it's a perfect scenario for him, because everyone knows he's got this huge ego. Right? He's a confident guy. That's been half his success. He's very talented, but he's very confident. And if he'd come into Man United, and there was a lot of doubters, can't do it in England at 35, and the legs have gone, it's too easy in France. If he'd come in and that had happened, he'd have hated it. Personally and professionally, he would have hated it. So he's absolutely gone the opposite end of the spectrum. Seb, he's loving this, because he's getting all the attention, he's carrying that team, and quite rightly getting the attention. But I'm sure he wants a bit of success at the end of it in terms of where United are going to go.
You mentioned there's a lot of doubters. How surprised are you that he's where he is right now? 23 goals across all competitions, and we're in February.
Look, I would be lying if I said I thought he was going to be as prolific. I never thought it was going to be a disaster like some. I think I was somewhere in the middle. So he has, because of his age in particular, so he has exceeded those expectations. One of the reasons I felt that it wasn't going to be a disaster for him is because we overhyped the defending in the Premier League. It's poor. I mean, it's poor. Man City can't put a defence together. You saw Arsenal the other night. Liverpool's Achilles heels is their defence. Then you go down the leagues to all the pub teams who can't hardly pass the ball for 5 passes, and they've got horrible defenders, and he's played against the best. So he was always going to bully these guys, in my opinion. So that's why I'm not totally surprised that he's scoring goals. However, 20-odd goals is quite special for a guy in his mid-30s.
He's on a 1-year deal. United have an option. They'll obviously want to keep him. But if Zlatan's goal is to win things, is United the best place to be? Are they going to contend for Champions League next year? Are they going to contend for the Premier League next season?
I think he's a bit late to move on somewhere else now. He's at a huge club. They're getting better. Whether they'll get in the top 4 this year remains to be seen, or Champions League via Europa League. They're in a League Cup final. So I think he can see, and I think his relationship, more importantly, with Mourinho has always been strong over the years. And I think he can see that if it stumbles a bit for United this year, the chances are they'll be a lot more competitive next year. So I don't envisage him leaving whatsoever. I think we'll see Zlatan, for me, 99.9% at United next year.
How long do you suppose that he can do this, maintain this high level? Because his skill set doesn't seem to rely on speed or overt athleticism that might wear away as you get older?
Maybe another couple of years, depending on who they bring in. I couldn't see him being in a Rooney situation unless Mourinho's got something over on him where he can get him to come off the bench and maybe be involved in 20 games a year. I can't see that, but I can see him being at United another couple of years, and I can see him playing in certain competitions and depending on who they bring in, younger, quicker, pacey, clever players, I don't see it an issue for him.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the new Indiana Jones at 35 years.
No reaction. I have to play Saint Etienne, I have to play the final, I have to play, hopefully, another opponent in the Europa League. I have to fight for a top 4 position in the Premier League, so I have so many things to think about. Probably Chelsea can only think about that, because I think they are champions and they have nothing else to play for. So the FA Cup is something I believe important for them. We are going to fight for that. But obviously the League Cup is the one that we have 50% possibilities of winning, and we have to fight for this 50% become a title. After that, and the next one is to get the result against Saint Etienne and be in the last 16, and let's go step by step.
Welcome to Extra Time. If you haven't already, check out the mean tweets that Craig ran out for, what was it, for digital? For ESPNFC.com.
FC.com today.
There we go. They're very good.
Tweets you sent, or
No, I actually didn't see them. The lads put them together.
You've sent a few mean tweets out yourself.
I do.
You received mean tweets as well, Shaq. Calling you a very naughty word.
Yeah, got one.
He was saying that he'd watched the show for 3 years and you haven't said anything insightful, and you fair play for giving him a 3-year
to
chance.
try to keep.
Normally you watch maybe 3 shows and make a decision. that particular individual was so thick it took 3 years. Oh, sorry.
These tweets are not abusive.
Okay.
Can Manchester United win all cups and get top 4 with their squad depth? All cups. So they got League Cup final, haven't they? FA Cup they're still in. Europa League.
Yeah, they can.
They can, but I don't think that will happen. That's a huge ask, isn't it?
It is.
Well,
I think they finished top 4.
When did Liverpool do that? 2000.
I don't know.
2001.
2001.
Well, that's a guess. Is that when they won the Europa?
They won the UEFA Cup, didn't they?
UEFA Cup, yeah, against
they
that
won the
Spanish
League Cup,
team.
the FA Cup.
Thanks.
Okay.
I can't remember. I don't think that will happen, but I tell you what, they could win this. I think they could be just putting their money in this Europa League this year.
Really?
Well, I think they might find that could be a better avenue in than the top 4.
No. Really?
I think they're going to finish top 4. I think they're going to finish top 4.
Why are you talking to me like that?
You know, Dan asked a question and answered himself.
You think the Europa League's easy? It's easy to finish top 4.
Shut up! We rubbish that competition every time we're on here. Now all of a sudden, you think it's great.
No, I just think that other countries take it more seriously than we do, therefore, I think it's tougher for United than maybe we suggest.
Move on.
Do you think Real Madrid can repeat as Champions League champions?
Yes.
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 See how we hedge with bets there? We didn't say they are. We said they can.
Yes.
You understand? Even you understand that?
Well, yes, I do understand it. And then I didn't really want to go down the, well, will they? Because, you know...
Well, that's what you normally do.
Well, yeah, I know, but I feel like it's time to go home. Which TV presenter...
Well, that's what I like about this place. When Dan Thomas feels it's time to go home, we can all go home. But when Dan doesn't, then we have to sit here and listen to you.
Right, so do you want to stay for longer?
I don't know, can we?
Well, you can if you want, apparently.
Well, just why don't you break with tradition and just ask the questions?
Well, I did ask the question, you answered it, and then you decided to decipher the answer. To be fair...
Come on.
I'm going to go.
Which TV presenter has the worst fashion sense?
Well,
that's easy.
Well, you're in there.
Dan's in there? I vote for Stevie.
He's not a presenter.
Oh, presenter? What's the question? Oh, so
Could you
how many
imagine-
presenters we have?
Yeah. Could you imagine Nico presenting this?
Oh, goodness. How many presenters we have? Just you? And then when you allow somebody else to come along and have a day?
Well, I have to have a holiday sometimes.
Wait, you just decide, well, okay, you have a day.
Shaq,
Well,
let's
Adrian-
not talk about holidays.
I did not talk about holidays.
You have more holidays than
I did
anyone
not
at this
talk about
company.
holidays. I haven't been on a holiday in a long time.
I think we'd have to throw Adrian in there as well, wouldn't we?
How many presenters we have?
I don't know, why has your voice got so high?
I don't know. That time of night.
That is it. We are done.
All their presenters
I
are
say that
small.
it's done. That's it.
Not Adrian. Adrian's
No, Adrian's not.
Adrian's not a small guy.
ESPN FC is back on Sunday. You can join us midnight Eastern on ESPN News.
Laughing at it.